BBC.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
We're live? Yep. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport. And obviously yesterday we had that big news that the European Super League has been announced. Yep. This is interesting news for football. Now I'm joined tonight by Jamie Davies, Darren Hughes and Conor, and we're going to discuss the big issue about this European Super League and what effect it could have on football should it go ahead. Obviously plans were announced yesterday that 12 of Europe's elite clubs have agreed to this new Super League, which will rival the Champions League. And, well, there's been lots of fallout from this game, so from this news about the game and what impact it's going to have on the beautiful game. Jamie, we'll start off with you. What's your opinions on this big news?
Where do you start? I mean, to be honest, I'll say this now. I've said this to the lads as well before. Me, my dad, my brother, we said about 10 years ago that money is killing football, right? It's been doing it each year, has been probably for the last 30, 40 years. You know, when it all started, when footballers were going from £1 million to football clubs about 20, 30 years ago. And it's slowly been killing football, but this has just taken a big step up towards that of killing football for good. I think the fact that you've got all the big clubs in England wanting to get away from the Premier League after 20-odd years of the Premier League building and becoming, in my eyes, the biggest league in the world. After all that, they've just gone, piss off, we're done with you, we're going to create our own league and we'll make sure that we're protected. Oh, that's really fair, isn't it? Am I surprised? I'm not really, because I've been stressing about the fact that foreign owners coming over to England, I've got nothing wrong with foreign owners, but if they don't understand the sport, then they'll never understand the passion and the feel we have as fans of what we want to see from our club. Liverpool in the late 2000s had problems with their owners before FSG came in. I thought FSG were all right. Now they've proven that they want this European Super League, which did surprise me. The Glazers, we've had problems with them even before they bought the club, which is getting loans out to buy United. It's ridiculous. And they don't give a shit. They're over in Tampa Bay enjoying Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. That's the only sport they care about. But I'm overall not surprised. It's killing football, but to tell you the truth, to get over this, I'm very close to not supporting Man United anymore if this does go ahead. I'm very, very close to actually, looking at these clubs and go, you know what, fuck off. Done with you. Let's focus on the actual teams in the lower leagues and actually support them for a change.
A bit more background information on this. There's been talk since October, obviously, about this Super League between these elite clubs in Europe. The Wall Street Bank, JP Morgan, over a new £4.6 billion competition that would replace the Champions League. Obviously, UEFA had the plans for the reform with a new 36-team competition, and so many of those clubs will be guaranteed a place even if they don't qualify for the domestic leagues, which to me is a bit bizarre, but that's one of the reasons why they created this Super League, so it's a bit confusing. Conor, obviously you support Nottingham Forest yourself, who were in the Championship and were once European champions twice in the 80s. Am I correct there? Obviously, how is this going to affect the sides lower down the table, would you say, lower down the football pyramid in England?
Well, I guess it all depends on what the club's status is in the Premier League, because if they stay in the Premier League, then there won't be too much of an effect. It'll just be how competitive would the Premier League be? Would the teams, these 6 teams that are competing in the Super League, are they still going to be competitive in the Premier League each and every weekend, or will they be saving their best squads for these midweek games in the European Super League? So I'm not too sure how big of an effect it will have. The announcement yesterday from the board members of the Super League said that they'll be looking to pump money into the lower leagues and provide some financial support in these, wider pyramids. But one of the main reasons why the Super League is being formed is because these bigger clubs want more money, because they feel as though they have a big stake in the success of the Champions League every single season, and they don't feel as though the money which they are receiving from the Champions League reflects that. So how much more money would they be pumping into the wider football pyramid than what they already are? Is it a big enough influence? It's too soon to call, I think. I think a lot of this is too soon to call now. And, a lot of this could be, just trying to play down the cards in order to, this is quite something interesting. Leeds players have come out with shirts on with the Champions League logo saying, earn it. And then on the back of it, it's saying football is for the fans. So quite clear and evidently Leeds have come out and said, and come out against this. And there's going to be a meeting later on this week between the 14 other Premier League teams to discuss about the Super League and what should happen to the clubs are involved. So I guess we'll have to wait and see and see what are the results and what comes out of those meetings. But certainly we've seen a lot from other organizations today. UEFA and FIFA have come out solely so heartily against the idea of a Super League, and I'll let Darren talk a little bit about that so that he can have a word in as well. But overall, in my opinion, I think it would have quite a big detriment onto the quality of the game itself, because I don't envision a league where Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool and Tottenham all play good quality teams and risk those players in the Premier League in order to stay competitive in the league, when they've got more money on the line due to, I imagine the money will be distributed due to placement in the European Super League. Why would they put players at risk in the Premier League where they're getting more prize money in the European Super League? So I think it would have an effect on the quality of football in this country as a result. So, but yeah, I'll let Darren talk about it a little bit more, because he is a Manchester United fan, and obviously he's got more passionate views of what I have as a Nottingham Forest fan on the situation.
Darren, over to you. Obviously, you've had some strong opinions in the Let's Talk Sport WhatsApp group the last 2 days on this. Let's hear your views.
Yeah, so I think I can echo a lot of what's been said by the other guys. I do have a slight different opinion at times. I mean, I've been very angry. I watched the match yesterday and my joy was short-lived, because I've been pacing around the house all day, physically angry and sick at the fact that my club, and not just my club, football as a whole, will die because of this. And that is an extreme thing to say, but I mean that. And yeah, I think my club, being Manchester United, died yesterday. I don't have a club. I don't follow a club now, because the Manchester United that I love died yesterday. And Conor said that, it might not have that much of a detriment for the pyramid if the teams stay in. It's going to have a huge if they stay in or not. The Premier League eventually,
trust is gone.
Well, not just that. I think the league will go. It's the best league in the world now. These teams have got financial success built on the brand that the Premier League have built.
Yeah.
Okay. They've then got world fame by challenging the other best teams in Europe through the Champions League. United have been built on the history of the Champions League, with the Munich air disaster, then 10 years after that winning. And we're saying, as a club, forget all that. That means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. If these teams stay in, You're absolutely right. Why would they play their teams? Why would they play their best squads in the league where there is no detriment for them not finishing top four because they're in this Super League no matter what? United could get relegated, but because Ed Woodward and the Glazers are so heavily involved in the ESL, they will still be there and they'll still be playing for the prize fund. So it's not a question, will they play their best squads? They won't, okay? That means then that the quality of the football will decrease, which then means that the interest in the Premier League decreases and the TV rights and the money all shift nicely to the ESL. Therefore, there's less money, there's less broadcast rights in the Prem, and that then has a detriment on every other team if they stay or if they don't stay. Now, do you think removing them from the league will have any effect? Each of these 12 teams will get £400 million just for joining, for transitional costs. The winner is supposed to win another 400 million. So if we put that into perspective, the Premier League gives them what? I think United last year got 16 million. So what's that? That's 20 years money just for joining up. If we remove these teams for the Prem, it will not matter. It will not matter to these teams at all. It'll have no effect. In fact, the board will probably want them to play less games. The boards will want them to not have to play for their international clubs because it's their assets and they're going to be fresh to compete for this bigger prize pot. And it sickens me that the element of competition, the football has been built on the working class. That's where it comes from. I'm not against the financial.
It hasn't been for the working class in years, though, has it? Let's be honest. And it hasn't. Not in this country, anyway. In my eyes,
I've got no issue in the commercialization of football. That to me is a natural progression from where we were. However, if you take the element of competition away from football, from European sports, then it means nothing. How can you have Arsenal and United, who they've not been in the Champions League consistently? How are they considered elite? They're not elite. They've got the biggest bank accounts, the biggest draw. So even if we all boycott Arsenal, United, Chelsea, they'll just sell tickets to foreign fans who don't understand the game, who don't love it. They don't care if we're there or not. The heart of football is dead. Football is gone. I think with competition gone, United we're 8 points behind City. So what? It doesn't matter.
We saw a few times Bayern Munich being the visiting team at Emirates Stadium, and they would leave banners in the away end, and most of them would go by half time to say, the ticket prices to come to an Arsenal game for a Champions League night is, it's over £100 for them, when you could go to Bayern Munich from here and it would cost you fuck all, as long as you can get the ticket and the travel and all that on top. That's when I looked at the Premier. I'll be honest with you, I haven't loved the Premier League in a very long time. As in, I like the Premier League because it's a great league, but as a fan, it's not for the fans. When's the Premier League been from the fans? In the last 10, 15, 20 years maybe? I don't know anyone here. Us four here don't have season tickets. We rarely go and see these games as ticket holders because you can't. It's hard to get one, and even if you do get access to one, it's bloody expensive. I go to Germany for one weekend. I go and see 3 games in 3 days. Got tickets, no problem. Through the clubs on their website. Cost me jack shit. The travel and all that was fine. Had a great time. Was able to drink beer, no problem, inside the stands. All that, and it said to me, why should I be that close to the Premier League, right, as a fan, when I can go to Germany, follow the league, and actually feel it's for the fans? And guess what the Bundesliga status is? For the fans. It's actually a statement I can agree with. You have politicians and all that say all these things, and it's like, blah, 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 you're just trying to get votes. No, Bundesliga is serious about it, and that's why I'm not surprised Bayern Munich and Dortmund have said no to the European Super League, because they've got a structure in place, and this is typical Germany. They're sufficient people. They just do the right things, apart from trying to invade the world. But anyway, back with that, where they have 51% fans owning the clubs. And if we had that right now in England, we wouldn't be talking about this. We wouldn't be talking about this. And this is when, I'm not saying you can change it, it's too late now. These clubs are owned by Glazers, FSG, and they can do whatever they like with it.
Do you think, I completely agree that there are inherent issues with the current system that we have, but do you honestly think that it's going to get any better with this Super League? Do you think that it's been thought out that fans from United who maybe work in Manchester or around where I am can hop on a plane?
Nah.
Fly to Madrid one week, Italy the week after. This isn't for the fans.
No, of course it's not. But look at the Premier League in the last 12 months. It's had no problems doing games behind closed doors. And even one of the old West Brom owners came out once and said, we can still have match days without the fans because of the television deal and the sponsorships and all that. And this was before the pandemic. So that says to me that there's too much money in football anyway.
The television
there's too much. Sorry, Darren. There's too much football at the top of football.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
But as soon as West Brom, Championship teams, League One, League Two teams, they've all been struggling in this.
Especially
this
now. Especially now. Yeah.
And there's a lot of money in teams that get relegated from the Premier League, and they're able to cope and survive and things like that. Even in a non-pandemic year, look at how my own team, Forest, how they've struggled to get out the Championship over the past 20 plus years. They've even gone down to League One in one season as well. So it's a struggle for a lot of teams. And this aspect, the money aspect of it, is the sole driving force of it. There's nothing they can put out as much as they want in statements to say that, they are looking to make the game better and improve facilities and all that. It's just the money because of what they've lost over the past year.
Exactly.
And
it's been
it upsets me because it is essentially killing the game. And I have the faith that if the teams were to stay in the Premier League, that it would still be competitive. But I think it can sometimes be a bit like.
Here's a question. This Super League, right? So it's 2 leagues of 10, and you play home and away, and then the top 3 go straight in, and then 4th and 5th play, and then there's playoffs from there. If you're Arsenal, if you're United, if you're one of the smaller teams, you're not as good. What happens when you're 4-6 games in? You know that you're not going to progress into the knockouts. So then there's no competitive value in the Premier League. Let's be honest, it's midweek. It's 24 games if you go all the way. So the FA Cup will eventually die. The Carabao Cup will die. The Champions League will die. The Europa League. There is nothing left to play for. You could be 8 games in, and there's nothing left to do. It's just pre-season.
I think it's very simple how this is. I wouldn't say avoided, because look, I'll say this now: if the clubs are willing to go the full speed, the actual maximum of being rebellious and leaving everyone behind to do this, 2 words: fuck them. Fuck them. Leave them to it. And the way I see it is, you go and enjoy your Super League party. We're not going to watch it. We'll look at the other teams. I don't think. Look, it is bad what's happened, but I've actually looked over the hill and thought to myself, you know what? Football will always be around with or without these clubs that we're talking about at the moment. Which, okay, people say, well, the pyramid and all. It's like, yeah, they'll find a way. We love this. This world loves football too much for this to happen, in my eyes. Which, the way I see it is, if it goes ahead, I won't support Man United anymore. I can't, and it's such a shame because the history of United I love to bits. It's what got me into football when I was 4 years old. Watching Beckham, Scholes, Giggs, and all that, and learning about the club and then supporting the club throughout the whole thing, even through tough times like this. It's just really sad. But what I will say is to all the fans watching us right now, just don't give in to the Super League. Don't even watch a second of any of the games that take place. Don't even share anything about the Super League on social media. Just don't buy anything towards it. And just look at clubs that aren't in this Super League. Let's just focus on something else and go, oh, you're having a Super League game tonight? Couldn't give a rat's arse because my team Rochdale are playing tonight, or something like that. You know, that's actually, maybe this is a good sign that we actually start to focus on other clubs instead of the usual names that we have in football.
Jamie, even if the Super League doesn't happen, would you seriously consider still supporting a team that has such blatant disregard for you as a fan?
I don't know, but the reason why I won't support them if they do go ahead is because the players and the coaches are still letting it happen. While you look at Bruno Fernandes, who's come out and has clearly gone against it by saying you can't buy dreams. But I respond to him and say, well, please show it on the pitch that you're not going to play for this team if they turn up to the Super League. You know, I want to hear in the news that you went to training and went, I ain't training for a club that completely doesn't care about the fans. You know, a club that was built by fans. Especially during, as you say, the Munich air disaster. The club got themselves together and it took them 10 years, but they then win the Champions League with Bobby Charlton, who was on the plane, and then George Best and Dennis Law and all that. So we've got to remember it's the owners. They're the ones who are doing this, not the players, not the coaches. They don't have a say in it. And Conor watched Klopp before in an interview, and Klopp's clearly against it. But we have to see if this does go further. If this goes further where we have dates in place and it looks as though they are going to leave the Premier League to do the Super League, then that, to me, I would say, again, this is another message. As well as us fans, it's down to the coaches and the players. They've got to make a stand, and they shouldn't worry about their wages or getting sacked. Screw it. You'll get picked up somewhere else, I'm sure of it. You may have to take a wage cut or whatever, but sometimes it's not about money, this whole moment. It's about your beliefs and what you believe in, and not sticking towards an organisation that's clearly against your views.
Yeah, I have to say, Jamie, like, you looked at Gary Neville yesterday, and he's coming for some stick because they're saying like that he is financial doping with Salford, but really Salford were struggling financially in non-league. Him and the class of '92 lads, you know, the group of, was it 5 or 6 of them, come together, put some money in to help a club, and they've climbed the pyramid. And their dream is to one day have Salford in the Premier League and maybe competing in the Champions League. If the Super League happens, then that dream dies, doesn't it? Let's be honest, because there'd be no... Okay, they could still, in theory, compete in the Champions League. The Champions League is still going, but it's the Champions League is this historic competition. You had like more than 70 years, haven't you, of this competition, and then all of a sudden the clubs have stuck the 2 fingers up and gone, well, it's all about the bags of cash. And like you said, the dead rubbers will be in the league, because if you say 4 or 5 games, you lose your first 4 or 5 games in this Super League, you've got no chance of winning it. So what's the point? And then you turn your back, because the FA have said Premier League have said they'll kick them out the pyramids in their home domestic competitions. UEFA said they won't be able to compete in theirs. FIFA said they won't be able to compete in theirs. It's all the clubs, from my opinion, trying to grab hold of any power that they possibly can. Yeah. And the problem is, with the American owners at Liverpool, at Arsenal, and the Sheikh at Manchester City, they don't have the emotional attachment to the club like the fans do. And people that actually care about the clubs from the East Country, all they see is pound or dollar signs or whatever, currency. That's all they see. And I'm supposed to be, as the host tonight, I'm supposed to be impartial, but I don't know.
Well, what do you think, Joe? Would you support Liverpool if they do go ahead with the Super League?
Liverpool Football Club is, and it's sad as it sounds, you know me, it's my life, right?
That's why I'm asking
you. I think
you.
about football all day. But I cannot support this Super League because the football club is turning on its values. We're supposed to be about the people. We're supposed to be a club for the
especially
working
Liverpool.
Class.
Especially Liverpool.
Our anthem is "You'll never walk alone." We've had this tagline and slogan the last couple of years. We are Liverpool. This means more. Yet, FSG have decided as owners, they tried putting the prices up back in the 15-16 season. They tried to put the ticket prices up to £77. The fans protested. They walked out in 77 minutes. Liverpool were 2-0 up at the time against Sunderland. Fans walked out, collapsed on the pitch, drew 2-2. And Adam Johnson scored that day, but less said about him, the better. But that protest worked. They've had fans outside the ground today putting banners up, saying Liverpool Football club 1892 to 2021. The club is now dead. FSG out. And I've seen some friends of mine who work for the club as well have put stuff on their social media. And I agree with that. But for me, the club's lost its soul. It's lost its integrity. And all the owners care about, and they've done it again and again. People say to me, "What's your opinion on FSG?" And I just go, "Oh, I'm neutral." But I'm not neutral anymore.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not neutral anymore because every time they do something positive, they've done the expansion of the main stand, they sort the finances out, then they go and do something else, a massive fuck up that ruins it all. And then they've done this, and I'm fed up of it because I want someone owning the football clubs in England that actually cares about the football and actually understands the sport, not the money. And I know that there's people I've seen on social media that are saying the same with Boston Red Sox. They're fed up because they're doing the same with the baseball. All they see is the money. They don't actually see the success on the pitch. And they're fed up of the actual integrity of their clubs being ripped apart by people that actually don't care.
Well, isn't it funny how in Germany they're still successful with Bayern Munich winning the Champions League, and they've won 2 in the last 10 years and have been finalists a few times as well. Dortmund were finalists as well once. This is under the whole ownership system in Germany. All I'm saying is that at least with Germany, you've got agreements in place where it can't go wrong at the club. That's all I'm saying. And what I just don't like, owners coming from abroad telling a club how it should be ran when they just don't have a clue. It just doesn't seem right for me. But I'll say this now. The players and the coaches in these clubs right now have a big responsibility. If they don't believe in this, then do your bit and stand your ground and just don't carry on with these clubs. Without the coaches and players, this Super League can't happen.
I've got a question. I've got 2. I've got one for Conor, but I've got one for Joe as well, which I want to start with. And this might be extremely generalizing things to the point that I might get some stick, but I'm going to ask the question. So Liverpool, Manchester, historically, those places to live aren't swimming with money. Okay. In COVID, there's an economic crisis that thousands of people are out of work and are struggling. 3 million people have died worldwide. So my question is, how does that sit right with the working man roots of a place like Manchester, a place like Liverpool, where their team has now become almost like an Eton of football? Close shop, no one else is allowed to play. We will do what we want. It's even governed by the people who have set it up. That's like Sainsbury's and Tesco doing the UK law about selling food. There's no other industry where you are allowed to regulate yourself at that level. Yeah. So Joe, what's your thoughts about the fact that it's suddenly gone from these community-driven clubs to a closed shop, elitist, almost bigoted way of running things?
It doesn't sit well with me at all. And the beautiful game lost a lot of its beauty yesterday. And my club lost its heart and its integrity because it doesn't sit right. Because it's akin, basically, to me. An example I thought of before was it's like there's always 1 or 2 kids in the year at school. Like, I don't know if you experienced it. I experienced it at my school, that they were the first, leading the school play because mummy and daddy were on the board, school governors. Or they were always in the sports team because mummy and daddy put money into the school. And the kids got more help from the teachers or whatever because mummy and daddy were pumping money and it was all to do with money. It's akin to that. And with the football, it's like the clubs, I think they've got a God-given right to be in European competition, God-given right to all this money. It's wrong. It is a disgrace. And the fact that they don't agree, the American owners have said, of certain clubs. They didn't name the club Sky Sports, but one of the American owners said to a member of Sky Sports, they said they couldn't name the person for legal reasons, which is just bizarre in itself as well. We don't understand why you have relegation and promotion in football. It's part of the beauty of the game. Yes, okay, it's crippling, it's heartbreak when you get relegated from your division, right? But then you have the high of surging yourself back through the leagues again. You have the joy of winning the league title. I've waited 24 years to see Liverpool win the Premier League. 24 years. And
can we just say, though, it needs to be like an asterisk there because you sort of won COVID. Yeah, fine, okay.
But I waited 24 years for that. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. And to be a club employee, it was even better to know I played a small part in it. Okay, I didn't play on the pitch, but you know what I mean. And to experience that. But to say that we're just going to say, screw you guys, because we think we've got the right just to this money. It doesn't matter. Money shouldn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We make enough as it is through revenue streams. The prices of tickets are going up more and more, and they will go up again. The prices of football shirts. When I was a kid, it used to be 20, 25 quid for a shirt, and I think that was even with a name on the back. You're looking at 65 quid without a name, £15 for the lettering, £5 per badge if you want the badge. Then they've got the different versions of each kit. You've got 3 kits nowadays. They change the home shirt every season. They change the away shirt every season. Whereas when I was growing up as a kid, you used to have the home shirt for 2, and then they would change the away shirt, which is understandable. Yeah. But with the away kit, you can get with that. So it's 3 kits a season. It's £40 for kids. And they're just hiking the prices up and up and up, these football clubs. And then they bring in this Super League. So that'll be another competition with another badges, with another merchandise. They don't see the fans, they just see pound signs. And it's a disgrace. And they don't see other clubs. They don't see the lower down the pyramids. Because one of the owners has literally come out and said, we don't care how much of a detrimental effect it has on the rest of football. We only care about ourselves. It is abhorrent. It is horrible, the way that they are thinking of only themselves. Look, I've got Chester City that about 20 minutes away from me, or Chester FC, should I say. They went bust in 2010 because of finances. They've come back, and their season, non-league season, couldn't continue due to finances, so they decided to not avoid it. But I might just go with this European Super League. I'll go down and watch Chester. Cheaper.
That actually leads me on quite nicely there to my question for Conor is, so, I mean, United, they took £9 million worth of dividends. So it's not like the business of football doesn't make these owners money. They just want more. But my question is, I'd like the perspective of someone who's not a part of this, this top 6. And I use that in quotations, is the thought that I've had, and maybe you might agree or not, is so finances play a part, and they definitely would for a team like Liverpool. They definitely would for Ed Woodward and co. They definitely would with, anyone. However, has no one thought this also is a way for self-preservation? Why is Arsenal, who was sitting 9th in the table, been picked ahead of a team like Leicester, who won it a few seasons ago, who have the better team, who play the better football? My whole thing is these top 6 have been chosen based on worldwide fan base to bring ticket sales in. But do you think that those teams, Conor, and this is a question for you because you're not a United fan, do you think that it's also, as well as cash, it's preservation? United haven't won the league now for how many years? Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea might not get top 4. So this is a way to close doors before things get worse and go, all right, guys, no, yeah. Well, we're still the biggest teams in the world, so we're just going to take the money, but also make sure that no other new teams can take our roles. And I'd say the same thing about Barca too now, the fact that they've got no cash. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it earlier about the money that's being handed out to these clubs upon admission to the Super League itself, and it's way into the billions, way more than what they would get from each season in the Premier League. And that is just the standing factor of it. As much as it is financial ties it perfectly into preservation. Arsenal haven't competed in the Champions League now for a good 4 years, and it's going to be approaching 5 come the end of the season, most likely. Tottenham Hotspur missed out on the Champions League, and obviously we're in the final recently, but as far as consistency, they haven't exactly been one of the most consistent clubs in the past 10 years or so when it comes to the Champions League spots. Manchester United recently have tipped and toed out of the Champions League itself, but they haven't been to the final itself since the Fergie days. Chelsea, of course, won the competition in 2012, I think it was, against Bayern Munich. I'm not too sure about the date itself, but they're obviously in the semi-finals this year and have shown good progress. But ultimately, it's another preservation. Unsurprisingly, Roman Abramovich is probably a key figurehead behind this Super League itself. But there's been times as well where Chelsea have only managed to win the Europa League, of course, in 2013 and 2018. So, and Manchester United, I think I've already said I can't keep track. It's just that frustrating. Manchester City, of course, as well. On their way to potentially playing in their first final, but they've never won the competition itself. And it was only at the turn of the decade where this is a team that was turn of the millennium in 2000, that this was a team that was competing in Division 1 outside of the Premier League itself. So yeah, it is a lot of it is about money and preservation, and that's one of the main reasons why these founding clubs compete in the Super League every single season, and while they'll never be taken out of it. And it's while it's currently a mystery as to how these other 5 remaining teams, if you want to include in a hypothetical situation of PSG, Bayern Munich, and Borussia Dortmund being the other 3 to make the 15 founding, and then the other 5 teams from goodness knows how they're going to do that. It is very, very concerning. That it is just self-preservation, and that goes, as Joe said, against all aspects of what we know football to be and what we love about football itself. Promotion, relegation, cup final days, the upsets that you get. Leeds United beating Manchester City last weekend. Weekend before that, sorry. And you look up and down the pyramid itself, you get loads of different results from games itself. Luton last weekend beat Watford, and Watford are currently second in the Championship. So it's one of the joys I love of football. And it add on to that as well, the joy of Champions League nights itself. If Real Madrid play against Liverpool every single season, you don't get the magic of what happened a couple of weeks ago, where Real Madrid were able to knock out Liverpool and get a result at Anfield. If Manchester United play against PSG every single season, you don't get what happened at the at Paris Saint-Germain Stadium a couple of years ago when United were able to pick up the shock result and knock them out. And same goes with Arsenal. Arsenal haven't earned their European spot in the Champions League for some time now, but now they're getting their position in the competition itself. Tottenham, they don't get that magical journey where they get that amazing comeback against Ajax in the second half to book their spot in their first ever Champions League final. You don't get that anymore because they're going to be competing in a Super League. Chelsea, with their journey to the Champions League final, it's heartbreaking because of it's taken the joy out of football for me as a neutral watching these competitions, and that's the big aspect of it. And that's where it simply, in my opinion, it simply doesn't relate to the owners that are making these decisions, because, like you said, Darren, it is money driven overall in this decision making that's being made. Is it a ploy as well to potentially get UEFA to make some dealings? Obviously not, because UEFA have gone with their decision today with how they want to set out the Champions League moving forward. And the head of UEFA today said that he had phone calls with Ed Woodward saying that he was approval of this last week.
Just last week, yeah.
And suddenly today, suddenly this past weekend, obviously somewhere along someone's deceived someone in that aspect there, or someone's
called him a snake afterwards.
Someone's not telling the truth in that sense there. So I think eventually this will go to the courts, because I just don't see how any side backs down in this situation. And then you've got FIFA Pro, who represent the players union, saying that their players won't be used as bargaining chips in any situation. That's been in relation to the threat from UEFA and FIFA to pull any players that are competing in the Super League and ban them from competing on an international level. So I don't think that will happen unless UEFA does go for that full route, and then that will be its own court case, I imagine. But yeah, there's still a lot to play out in this situation, and ultimately, yeah, I'm not really looking forward to this at all, and it's such a shame, I think, for a lot of you guys, Manchester United and Liverpool fans, and a lot of other fans of football clubs out there, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Tottenham. It's so disheartening.
It's I think as well, like, the new system that the UEFA have announced for the Champions League, I'm for it because it's something different, but it still makes it, still has those Champions League nights, and it's a few more teams that have got the opportunity to get into the Champions League in a few years' time. But either way, I think it's very simple. The way I see it, for anyone watching, is to say, look, it's down. Don't think of it. I mean, yes, the owners represent the club, so whatever they do, the club, it will be known for it. But what I will stress is that it's the owners that have done this, not the players, not the coaches, not the club staff. The owners have done this. So what I'm trying to say is that the coaches and the players have their own platform. Some of them have come out and shared it today. Ander Herrera, Bruno Fernandes. I know Ander Herrera's not in a team that's to do the Super League, which surprised me, to tell you the truth. I thought PSG would have said yes to it, but they haven't. And I just simply think that, they should use that format. And I think at the end of the day, as long as you have the coaches and the players saying no to it and maybe walking away from these stadiums, then I believe that it won't happen. A Super League can't happen without the players. It doesn't matter about the fans. They don't give a shit about the fans. If they don't have players or coaches on that pitch, then you can't have a tournament. And isn't it funny today, lads? We've had over the last 12 months disagreements on COVID, Brexit, all that. But this is the one day where everyone I speak to who loves football in one way or another, or even just follows football now and again, I've not seen anyone disagree. This is what I mean. This is so weird. Like, we normally live in a world with two sides. There's no two sides in my eyes. No one wants this to happen apart from the rich cunts at the top of the bloody the stairs with these clubs. So it says it all for me. And I just think I'm starting to feel really rebellious even talking about it now. It's been really nice talking to football fans of you guys, and a Liverpool fan and a United fan as well in this chat. And it's made me more rebellious to just think, you know what? I'll be happy to just go, fuck United, fuck those clubs, and I'm going to focus on the clubs that do care for the fans. But I'm only going to do that if this does go ahead and I see United out on that pitch with the European Super League theme song on in the background or something, and then it does happen, making me think, well, that's clearly a statement to go, screw the fans, we want more money.
I echo your thoughts, Jamie, and as a Liverpool fan, we pride ourselves on being the third most successful club in the history of European Champions League. We've won 6 European Cups, 4 Super Cups, and we've won the Club World Cup last year, which we hadn't won before. And I pride ourselves on trying to win domestic titles, battling it out with United. It's the rivalry that I love, and the fact that you'd be guaranteed, because we've only played each other once in European competition. In the
I know, I can't believe that. Back. It's mad to think.
And the novelty will be gone with this Super League. And I was reading before from Melissa Reddy, who's a journalist close to Liverpool. She said that Klopp and the players weren't even asked, and they're against it. The staff at the club are against it. And even Sky Sports said some of the boardrooms at the clubs are split over it. Some of them want it, some of them don't. And the owners agreed, have just gone ahead. And for me, I always support Liverpool Football Club, my club, but I can't support the owners, and I can't support this decision for them to join the Super League if it goes ahead. For me, it's just done. I'm done.
Yeah, I just think it's. I'm funny enough as we say this. My mate has just sent me a text. Who's a United fan. And he's just said, "Feel like I'm going to have to find a new club if this goes ahead." That's how I feel, and that's the sad thing of trying to find a club that you have that love for, which I don't think I ever will. I think childhood, like Conor with Forest, Darren with United, you, Joe, of course, with Liverpool. Yes, we may want to support another club, but it just won't be the same. I've always joked about Mönchengladbach being my team in Germany, and because I had a wonderful time there, and it was for the fans, and I feel like that right now, where at least I know I can go to a Mönchengladbach game in Germany, get a ticket, no problem, pay hardly anything for the ticket to go and watch the team, have a great atmosphere, and have a great time in the fan zone outside the stadium. I don't know. But as I said before, if United go out on that pitch playing in a European Super League with some of those faces that we have in the squad, then I'm not interested in the club anymore. Simple as that.
Any final thoughts from you two, Darren, Conor?
This is still a developing story, so it's very much a wait and see approach from me. I still think there's a chance that this gets resolved between UEFA and the Super League, but if it doesn't, then it's going to go all the way to the courts, I think, and we could be out for a long drawn process before we actually see any Super League football in action.
I don't think it'll happen. My final verdict is it won't happen, but it's the damage it'll leave after all this. And it can only be solved by getting rid of these dickheads and finding new owners for these clubs that actually care. Sadly, we're not in a logical world.
I agree with Gary Neville's thoughts actually yesterday, where he said, and I'd hate to see my club deducted points relegated, but he said these clubs need to be punished and they need to be made an example of. He said, deduct them points, relegate them down the divisions, and stop their money.
So it never happens again.
That way. Yeah, see how they
Gotta
like
make
it
a
that
statement.
way.
Yeah.
Got to make a statement, and I agree with that from Gary Neville. I have to agree. I think that the clubs have got too big for the boots now, and pun not intended. And I think it'll be the end of football. As Dejan Lavin said, if this goes ahead, football will collapse completely, and the sport will be dead. And I have to agree with that.
I'm going to disagree because I think we'll find a way of focusing on other teams. In my eyes, that's just how I see it.
Well, I think we can all agree that the European Super League is a bad idea.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. My question is, hey guys, who's the most successful club in Europe? Not in the Champions League. Who's the most successful club in Europe?
Real Madrid?
I think it's Rangers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of trophies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Rangers.
55 league titles.
But
they're not there, yeah.
No, they're not there. Although, however, if these big six leave the league and those spots need to be filled, why not a Great British Premier League? Get Rangers and Celtic in. They would love to jump ship. Let's be honest. They've tried to do it before. We have Welsh teams in now anyway, so we don't need them. I think the money would drastically change. But yeah, I would fine them for bringing the league into disrepute. I would dock them points, and not just the odd 6 points where City still stays top and United still stays in the top four. Not that matters. I mean, dock them points so it hurts. And we need to stamp this out. And anyone who believes the European Super League's thing of they will ensure money goes down the pyramid, if you believe
never gonna happen.
If you believe that, how would you feel if some millionaire came and gave you £1,000 to sleep with your wife? It's exactly the same thing. They're trying to buy the teams off so they can do what they want when they want. And it's not on. It's not on. I don't think this will happen. But unlike Jamie, I honestly think that the damage has been done. If the Glazers remain, if Woodward remains, unless there's massive reform, which, if I'm being honest, I think may happen now that the government seems to have stepped in with commissioning a review early. Unless there's actual legislation that stops things like this happening, again, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Just before we go, we've just had a message here on the chat page from Soham saying Papa Perez literally said he will create his own World Cup if the players are banned from playing the FIFA World Cup, which just comes to show what a bunch of dickheads they are. They're willing to create all these things, all these it's all childish as well. It's like being in a playground where, you know, if you don't join your friends to play TIG or something, instead you go away and you go, oh no, I'm going to do my own things while everyone else hates you for it. It's the same thing where it's like you're not going to get a following, so what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, it wouldn't be a World Cup, and it's not a European Super League, because let's be honest, those 5 spaces will be for teams that the founding teams are already involved with. So it'll be maybe a team from England, because that's one spot, maybe a team from Spain, that's another, a team from Italy. They've got 3 spaces left. Ideally, they would have wanted Germany and France. That's your other 2 teams.
I think.
So where's Porto? Where's Ajax? This isn't European.
I think the fact that even if you're going to go down this route by annoying people, you know, as in if you're going to go down this route and not have fans backing your idea of a tournament, at least make the tournament look attractive. You know, the structure's shit. It's not been thought of at all.
It's like playing FIFA.
It is. It's like creating your own league on FIFA or something like that you could do, where it's never going to happen, but you can dream of it. But it's like, it's just so not popular at all. It's just hilarious. Just hilarious.
Imagine if they form it, these big 6 stay in the league, somehow it gets adopted. David Moyes and West Ham take one of the 5 spots, go on to win the actual Super League, and then aren't invited back for next year because there's no relegation from the zone, and they've had their one shot. So imagine a team coming, winning the whole thing, and then not being invited back because they have their one shot. Crazy. It doesn't work.
We've just lost Conor there, it seems.
Oh yeah, we've lost Conor.
Let me just try and get your pieces back together, Joe. Sorry about this.
Well, whilst you're trying to fix the stream thing, wasn't it? I can't remember who it was. It might have been American President Abraham Lincoln that said, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely," and that's what we've been seeing recently in the game of football. Is that these people that have the power are corrupting the sport that we know and we've loved for some time, and it's like Florentino Perez will be the chairman.
I mean, that says it all. This is Perez. I don't know if anyone knows how he became the Real Madrid president in 2000, but he told the Real Madrid fans, if I get this role, I'm going to get Luis Figo in, which at that time was a big thing because Luis Figo played for Barca, and Luis Figo never ever wanted to play for Real Madrid because of his love and his passion for Barca. And guess what happened? He got the position, didn't he? And then Luis Figo came with the Real Madrid shirt next to him, looking the unhappiest Portuguese football I've ever seen. And then a pig's head got thrown on the pitch against him at the new camp, as we all remember. Google that. Perez is a very, very dodgy git. They all are, these top people, to get to where they are, like Roman Abramovich, for example. But Perez being the chairman, I mean, God, if anyone actually had any common sense, you wouldn't touch this thing at all.
No. I think we should, once we get successful with the channel and make our millions, we should each buy our own clubs and sort it out.
Yeah. Well, as you said before, Joe, Chester FC, for example, maybe I could join you, go to watch a game, pay only a tenner, enjoy it, maybe a crap game of football, but at least it's still supporting a club, this is what local economy, especially right now, is very important.
Maybe that's what Let's Talk Sport needs to do in the wake of this. Obviously, still cover the big games, not Super League, and also...
Oh, screw yeah, we won't be doing that.
But also cover some non-league stuff.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? It's funny, I'll give you a bit of an insight to the viewers. We've started doing Bundesliga games and, MLS games, women's games, and we've been getting quite a good following from it. So, We don't need Super League and all that crap. We don't. People like to see stuff in lower leagues. You know, people that don't get much attention.
I've been involved with the broadcast side last season or the season before with the Wrexham stuff through a radio station. There's a demand there. There's a craving there. And I feel bad for their new ownerships, because the dream would always be, if you take a team and you want to actually progress them, the dream is the Premier League and the Champions League. And that's gone. And I know the Wrexham fan base is massive, and they would crave that. And being non-league, that journey to that point would be phenomenal. And this plan of ring fencing the elite teams it's disrespectful, not only to fans, but it's disrespectful for every other team in the pyramid and out of it. And it's a disgrace.
It really is.
And you look at the lower league clubs. I looked today at Chester, right? You could buy a stake in their fans. I think it's CSU. I think it's Chester Supporters Union. £12 a year. How cheap's that? And it's only a small stake of the club, but you're doing part of something for a small club in the community and helping the community as a whole. I would imagine it was similar with Wrexham, the fee, when they were owned by the fans before, Rob and Ryan come in and brought them, and they're going to take good care of them, I believe. Why don't fans of these big clubs, why don't we come and have a look and sort out a small club? You look at Liverpool back in, I think it was 2007, I think it might have been. AFC Liverpool was created by a group of fans.
Yeah.
I know someone called Chris, who's the chairman of Liverpool, AFC Liverpool. And he created them in the wake of the fact that they said they couldn't afford to go to Liverpool week in, week out to watch the big games in the Premier League. So they created a club for the fans so they could go on a Saturday and they could go and watch affordable football. And that club's doing fairly well in non-league at the moment. So why don't you go out? Because I know that there's been talk of having a non-league day where we encourage fans to go to the non-league. But in the wake of this European Super League, why don't you just go out there and have a look at these smaller clubs and just support them?
We
did
on
the road.
We did a watch along, didn't we, Joe, of Marine FC, which Marine FC won the FA Cup against Tottenham Hotspur in the fourth round, something like that. And they did this great thing where, because the fans couldn't go to the ground back in January, the club offered for people to buy virtual tickets. So, okay, you can watch. Yeah, you did that. You bought a shirt as well, I remember. It was a nice shirt, very nice shirt. I wish I got one now. But I just remember they had over 25,000 people buying those tickets. Imagine how long that's kept the club going. Not just because of the FA Cup place, that's got them a lot of money, and the TV broadcast for that game, but the virtual tickets and other stuff bought by the club. Even Ian Wright was a pundit for that game out in the stadium wearing a Marine woolly hat. So I think I'm for that. I mean I'm wearing the wrong shirt because Inter Milan are one of the teams that are in the memberships of European Super League, but I look at teams like Mönchengladbach, where I bought a shirt recently for them because they are struggling financially, and I think, well, yeah, of course I'll put it towards them because they need the money more than Man United or Liverpool do, because they clearly don't need any more money.
Well, this is just an extension of Project Big Picture, where they tried to use the fact that clubs were failing and needed a financial bailout as almost like a hostage. Well, we'll give you the money that you want. However, we want X, Y, and Z. That didn't work. They saw through that. So now this is just a reincarnation of that. And if this doesn't work, unless there's reform, that all we're doing is kicking the can down the road. And in another year's time, 2 years, 5 years, it'll be something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all done now, are we, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think we've had what was going to be a short video. I think it's been an hour now, but we've got to get things off our chest and we've got to discuss the issues. And to be honest, I think we're all in agreement. Liverpool and United fans coming together for once, I know, for the right cause.
This is what I mean. Everyone, this is a rare day today. Everyone's agreed on the disregard of it.
I think we can all agree that we'd love to get things off Joe's chest.
I won't show it to the cameras. I
No,
won't show it
no.
to the
No.
cameras.
Yeah, you should charge for that, Joe.
OnlyFans.
Onlyfans.com. Yeah,
There we go.
or admire me. The other websites are available. But
Let's talk OnlyFans. That's the next watch along, eh?
that's our sister channel. There you go.
I tell you what, Darren. Though we haven't seen your mug. Not the face, obviously we've seen that. I mean, the mug that you've made.
So this mug here, the story behind this was my favourite mug. A Liverpool fan, a friend of mine, got a job. So I work in the events industry. A friend of mine was doing a conference in Old Trafford. He's a Liverpool fan, ergo he's a thief. So he stole this and he gave it to me nicely. And since then, it's been my favourite mug, obviously. But I think today I have destroyed the mug. This is literally how I feel. Glazers out, enough's enough, and no to the European Super League. Burn the badge. That's the next thing. All of my kits, I'm going to burn them. Hashtag burn the badge. Enough's enough.
I reckon that's a good way to end this watch along. Enough is enough. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to Jamie and Darren for joining us, and Conor, who sadly had to leave because it was too emotional for him. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you all very soon for some more, hopefully happier football content or sports content.
I will say this before we finish: support your local team. Don't give in to the Super League. And coaches and managers and players out there, stand your ground. If you don't like it, don't do it.
Spot on.